My heart pounded so fiercely I feared it might shatter as I stood frozen in the bridal suite, the early morning light casting long haunting shadows across the room. I'd spent months dreaming of this day, a day when I'd walk down the aisle to a future of love and shared promises. But as I adjusted my veil, I heard voices through the half-open door that would change everything. In a hushed, frantic tone, I overheard my groom Daniel confess to someone on the phone, "I never intended to be with her. I'm already married and the wedding is just a cover to secure my new deal with her." Every word crashed over me like a tidal wave, drowning the hope I'd nurtured for so long. My vision blurred with shock and betrayal as I realized that the man I trusted had been living a lie. In that moment, every joyful promise of our future crumbled, and an icy resolve took root inside me. I would leave this wedding, and then I would return with the ultimate revenge. I spent the next few minutes in agonizing silence, tears streaming down my cheeks as I tried to process the revelation. I felt as though my entire world had been built on lies, and now the ground beneath me was crumbling. I slipped quietly from the room, careful not to alert anyone, and retreated into the darkened corridors of the mansion where the pre-wedding bustle continued obliviously. My mind raced. How could Daniel hide such a secret? How could he, on the day we were supposed to celebrate our union, betray me in such a devastating way? I wandered aimlessly until I found a quiet corner behind a closed door, where I sobbed in solitude and contemplated my next move. After what felt like hours, I made a decision. I would not allow his deceit to define me, to shatter my dignity forever. I quietly gathered my things, a few essentials hidden in my clutch, and slipped out of the mansion. I could not face the guests or the family that day, not while the raw sting of betrayal burned in my heart. I drove to a nearby park, where I parked my car under a solitary tree and sat silently, my mind awash with grief, anger, and a fierce determination for retribution. In the days that followed, I retreated into myself, barely able to face the world. I canceled all my appointments, avoided phone calls, and took refuge in the sanctuary of my small apartment. I spent long hours crying, replaying the moment I overheard Daniel's secret, feeling both heartbreak and a dark spark of resolve ignite within me. I began to research my legal options, wondering if I could annul the marriage or publicly expose his fraud. At the same time, I reached out to close friends and even a therapist, determined to understand the depth of my feelings and to decide whether revenge was the answer or if forgiveness might someday be possible. In therapy sessions, I learned that while forgiveness can sometimes set us free, it does not require us to forget or condone betrayal. I was encouraged to channel my pain into actions that would reaffirm my self-worth, and that's exactly what I began to plan. I spent sleepless nights drafting a meticulous plan for what would become my ultimate revenge. A plan that would force Daniel to face the consequences of his lies in front of everyone he held dear. I began by contacting our wedding planner, discreetly gathering information about the schedule and the guest list. I compiled every piece of evidence I could find of Daniel's deceit, screenshots of incriminating texts, voice messages I had accidentally recorded while he was on the phone, and even testimony from a trusted family friend who confessed she had overheard part of the conversation in a side corridor. Slowly, a plan emerged. I would leave the wedding in disgrace, only to return later with a dramatic revelation that would expose his secret to every guest in attendance. I spent days rehearsing what I would say, writing out a speech that was both a confession of my own pain and a public unmasking of his treachery. I knew that when I returned, I would need to confront not just Daniel but everyone who had witnessed our love story, friends, family, even those who had cheered us on as a couple. The thought of standing before them, of watching his smug face falter as I recounted every painful detail, both terrified and empowered me. I practiced in front of a mirror, my voice trembling at first, then growing steadier as I recited lines like, "You built a life on lies, but today I reclaim my truth," and "Betrayal may shatter promises, but it cannot break my spirit." During the time I was away from the wedding, I took refuge in solitude, tending to my grief while also fueling the fire of determination. I avoided social media, terrified that Daniel's carefully curated images with his new partner might cause me to lose focus. Instead, I found solace in long walks under the open sky, in the quiet rustle of leaves and the soft murmur of a nearby stream. Each step away from that painful day felt like a step toward reclaiming my life. I met with my therapist more frequently, digging deep into old wounds and emerging with a clearer understanding of my own worth. I began journaling every thought, every flash of anger and every hint of hope, until my pages became a testament to my resilience. 1 week after I left the wedding, as the storm of emotions began to settle into a determined calm, I decided it was time for the next act. I reached out to the wedding coordinator, who had been discreetly monitoring the situation, and arranged a meeting in the early evening of the same day. I explained that I needed a brief moment on the main stage, an announcement that would allow me to address the guests and reveal the truth about my husband's secret. The coordinator, sympathetic and understanding, agreed to grant me a 5-minute slot just before the reception was to begin. The hours leading up to that moment were a chaotic blend of dread and fierce resolve. I dressed in a simple yet elegant outfit, a reinterpretation of the wedding gown I had originally planned to wear, choosing to forego the extravagant embellishments in favor of something that felt authentic and powerful. I practiced my speech one final time in the quiet of my apartment, feeling the weight of every word. I knew that when I stepped up to the podium, I would be forever changed, no longer the naive bride who believed in happily ever after, but a woman who had reclaimed her narrative. As the evening of the reception arrived, the venue buzzed with a mix of subdued chatter and the clinking of glasses. Guests gathered in the grand ballroom, the atmosphere tinged with a bittersweet melancholy that I suspected stemmed from the sudden absence of one of the couple. I took a deep breath and stepped onto the small stage set up near the entrance. The lights dimmed slightly and all eyes turned toward me. For a moment, the noise of the room fell away, leaving only the pounding of my heart and the steady rhythm of my breathing. "Good evening," I began, my voice quivering at first but growing stronger with each word. "I stand before you today not as a bride whose dreams have been shattered, but as a woman reclaiming her truth." I paused, glancing over the sea of familiar faces. Friends, family, even the ones who had witnessed Daniel's confident smile that morning. I have learned a painful lesson in trust and betrayal. I have learned that love built on deception can never truly flourish. I felt my voice strengthen, fueled by the support in the eyes of those who had always cared for me. For months I have given my heart and my soul, believing in promises of forever. But today I reveal a secret that has forever changed the course of my life. I overheard my soon-to-be husband confess to a friend that he is not the man I believed him to be. He has deceived me, hidden a truth that cuts deeper than any knife. He is already married. Our union was never built on honesty, but on lies and ambition. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I continued, I trusted him with my love, my dreams, my very future. And now I refuse to be complicit in a sham. I am ending this chapter tonight, not out of bitterness alone, but out of a profound need to honor my own worth. I paused to let the silence settle, then concluded, let this moment be a declaration. I will no longer be silenced by betrayal. I will forge my own path, one defined by truth, dignity, and the strength of my own heart. The room erupted into murmurs, some shocked, others supportive. In that moment, as I stepped off the stage, I felt an indescribable lightness, as if the weight of deception had been lifted from my soul. In the aftermath, the reception took on an unexpected tone. Daniel's face, once confident and smug, was now ashen, his eyes darting nervously as guests whispered among themselves. Some approached me with tearful apologies, others with murmurs of admiration for my courage. His new partner, who had been seen earlier laughing with him, avoided my gaze. I retreated to a quiet corner of the ballroom, where my closest friends gathered around me, offering words of comfort and solidarity. I realized that while the night had been painful, it had also liberated me from a future built on lies. I had reclaimed my agency, and in doing so, I had transformed my heartbreak into a beacon of strength. The next day, as the venue emptied and the lights dimmed, I sat alone in a quiet room, reflecting on the journey that had led me here. The remnants of the wedding, the discarded bouquet, a single wilted rose in a vase, the echo of laughter that now seemed distant, were all symbols of a dream that had turned into a nightmare. But amidst the ruins I found a seed of hope. I realized that while I had lost what I once believed to be love, I had gained something far more precious. The unyielding knowledge that I deserve honesty, respect, and a future built on my own terms. I spent the following weeks healing, both physically and emotionally. I sought solace in long walks, in the pages of books that spoke of resilience, in quiet evenings spent journaling my thoughts. Each day, the sting of that fateful wedding began to fade, replaced by a steady, enduring strength. I reconnected with family members who had been silent during the scandal, rebuilding bridges that had almost been burned. Friends offered support, and over time I began to trust again, slowly, cautiously, but with a heart that had learned to guard its tenderness. Therapy helped me navigate the labyrinth of grief and betrayal. I learned to confront my emotions head-on, to accept that while the wound might never fully heal, it would eventually fade into a scar, a reminder of the trials I had overcome. Dr. Ramirez, my therapist, often reminded me that every end is also a beginning, and that sometimes the most painful departures pave the way for the most transformative journeys. I began to see that my life was not defined by the betrayal I had suffered, but by the courage with which I had chosen to stand up and reclaim my future. I also turned my focus to my career, which had taken a backseat during those tumultuous months. I embraced new opportunities, refined my craft as a graphic designer, and even started freelancing for small businesses in my community. Each new project, each piece of art I created, became a symbol of my resilience and a testament to the beauty that can emerge from even the darkest heartbreak. I found that creative expression was both healing and empowering, allowing me to channel my pain into something that could inspire others. In time, the echoes of that devastating day grew quieter, replaced by the gentle hum of new beginnings. I celebrated small victories, a promotion at work, a long-awaited trip with supportive friends, quiet evenings where I allowed myself to smile without the shadow of betrayal looming over me. I even tentatively re-entered the world of dating, determined to find a partner who valued honesty and kindness above all else. Every new relationship was approached with cautious optimism, a silent vow never to compromise my self-worth again. Looking back on that fateful wedding day, I now see it as a turning point, a moment that shattered a false dream and forced me to confront the painful truth. Daniel's shocking secret, revealed in a careless, heartless moment, could have destroyed me if I'd allowed it to. Instead, it became the catalyst for my ultimate revenge. Not a revenge born of malice, but one forged in the fire of reclaiming my dignity and redefining my future. By exposing his deceit in front of everyone, I stripped him of his power and forced the truth into the light. I showed the world that I would not be a silent victim, that I had the strength to transform betrayal into a beacon of empowerment. Now, as I sit in my newly decorated apartment, the scent of fresh paint mingling with the soft notes of my favorite playlist, I feel a quiet confidence that wasn't there before. The scars of betrayal remain, etched into my heart as reminders of what I've overcome, but they no longer define me. I have built a life that is authentically mine, a life where love is measured not by grand gestures or empty promises, but by honesty, mutual respect, and the courage to stand alone if necessary. I still think about that day sometimes, the memory vivid in my mind, the shock, the humiliation, the decisive moment when I stepped up and reclaimed my voice. I have learned that true revenge isn't about inflicting pain on someone else. It's about liberating yourself from the chains of their deception and rebuilding your life with unshakable integrity. My journey has been long and filled with pain, but it has also been a profound lesson in self-discovery and strength. I now understand that no one has the right to strip you of your truth, and that even in the midst of betrayal, you can rise, phoenix-like, from the ashes of your former self. My future is unwritten, a blank canvas on which I will paint new dreams. I have learned to trust myself again, to value my own worth, and to move forward with the certainty that I deserve a love that is pure, genuine, and unwavering. As I close my eyes each night, I hold on to the memory of that fateful day, not as a source of endless sorrow, but as a powerful reminder of the strength that lies within me. And while the pain of betrayal may never fully disappear, it now serves as a testament to the indomitable spirit of a woman who refused to be silenced, who turned heartbreak into a triumphant declaration of independence. In the end, I don't seek to glorify the revenge I enacted that day at the wedding. Instead, I honor the journey that followed, a journey of pain, healing, and ultimately rebirth. I emerged from that crucible forever changed, with a newfound understanding of love and loyalty, and the unyielding determination to shape my own destiny. My life is now a mosaic of hard-won victories and lessons learned in the face of unimaginable betrayal. And as I walk confidently into each new day, I know that my worth is not defined by the actions of others, but by the strength I found when I dared to reclaim my truth,